Welcome back to Captain of Industry. This is episode 20 of our Let's Play series, and this is a major episode. We're going to revamp a lot of things, but it actually started with the bad news. This is the first time in our history where we lost some people. We lost 3 people because they got too sick. I don't know if it was COVID or something else, but as you can see, there is a very strong disease here, and we lost some people because of that. We also have a lot of air pollution and water pollution. This is starting to increase quite a bit, so we do need to be careful about this if we want to make sure that our population survives. This is some of the things we're going to try to solve in this episode. But before we start, one good news though, look at this, we don't have any level 1 vehicles anymore. All our trucks are level 2, and similarly for our excavators. Okay, as always, a couple of years have passed for me to do the researches that I wanted to do, to prepare what I wanted, and to have the resources needed to get to the next stage. Let's dive right in. You remember one of the problems we had was water pollution. Now, I don't have it anymore. No water pollution at all. At this time in the game, the only water pollution I had was coming from my population. This was basically, if you wish, people peeing and pooing, and this being transformed into wastewater, and the wastewater being sent into the sea. We are actually making almost 100 per minute, so that was quite a bit, and that's why we had quite a bit of water pollution. But with wastewater treatment, we can change that. As you can see, we can take the wastewater. So let's look at this. This water facility also used to be here. If you remember, actually I left one of the pipes by mistake. I moved it over there for 2 reasons. First one is this is actually closer to where I'm making the water. It's actually this pipe that's going over here. And second, I needed some space for the wastewater. This is what we're doing here. This is not a perfect layout. I made it a bit quick and dirty, but we'll optimize in the future just to show you how it works. So basically the wastewater is created here, and as you can see, it is sent over there. Sent over there into that pipe, and into this one, to go into this one and that one. Each of these are taking 160. So to be honest, I really don't need to. Let's pause 1 for now. I just made 2 because I like to be prepared for the future and I like the symmetry of it, but definitely don't need it. This will take this wastewater, but also a couple of other things, sand and chlorine. The sand is actually here, right? This is just a normal storage. It goes here. And this is the chlorine. The chlorine goes over here and over here at the front. So this is an interesting building where you have some inputs coming in the front, some inputs coming in the back, and then the outputs, if you wish, are coming in the middle. There's 2 outputs, one is water, one is sludge. The water is this one, goes here at level 0, then goes level 1 over here, and goes back into my water pipe over here, with the pipe balancer taking this first, and if there's nothing over here, then it's gonna be some water coming from the village to go into our water facility. The second is sludge. We can do a couple of things. For example, we can transform the sludge into fuel gas and compost, or we can burn it. But if we burn it, it will create more pollution, and we're trying to reduce our pollution. So I went for this one here, and this is what you can see here. One thing to note though is that this is 24, this one is only 12 if not boosted. This is why right now I've boosted it. The reality again is that this is not a perfect layout. If this is working at full capacity, both of these, then we will need 4 of these ones. But at the same time, I don't need 4 of these for now, right? So anyway, having said that, for now we'll leave the boost. I have a lot of Unity, so that's not a problem. And this, as I said, is going to create fuel gas and compost. For now, I'm not doing anything with them. You can see the compost over here, the fuel gas over here, but very soon we'll start doing things with it. So with this, we were able to stop having water pollution. Now, what about air pollution? Well, the air pollution can come from many different things. For example, here we have distillers creating some exhaust, right? Here we have a flare that's flaring our excess ammonia when we're completely full on ammonia. Or here we have many, I don't remember, I think it was 18 blast furnaces that always create some exhaust, right? There's many ways we're actually creating air pollution at this point, and we won't be able to completely stop all of them, but we can definitely improve. And improve with 2 things. One is we just unlock this exhaust scrubber. With that exhaust scrubber, we'll take a lot of exhaust and we'll create a couple of things. It will still create a bit of air pollution, but a lot less. But that's not all, we've also unlocked the advanced smelting. The advanced smelting, we get access to the blast furnace level 2. For the blast furnace level 1, let's take the example of the iron ore, but it's basically the same for everything. With that example, we're making 24 molten iron with 24 exhaust, right? Versus for the blast furnace level 2, for that same iron, we're making 48 with only 36 exhaust. So basically, the blast furnace level 2 is a lot better in terms of exhaust, in terms of air pollution. So if we combine those two things and revamp a bit this part here on blast furnaces and the exhaust, not just sending it into the air, but transforming it into CO2, we should be able to reduce a lot of air pollution. It won't be the end. We still have a bit of air pollution from other things, like my desalinator here, which, by the way, we could also transform into the thermal desalinator soon. Or here, there's a bit, but it will reduce it quite a bit already. And on top of that, this is also more resource efficient, right? Because this is 24 iron ore and 9 coal to make 24 iron. So to make 48, that's double, right? That's 48 and that's 18. Now if we look at the blast furnace level 2, this is only 36 of this one and 15. So it's less coal already. It's also a lot less iron ore. It is iron ore crushed instead of normal iron ore, but to crush it, you just need to put it into a crusher. So that's just, 2 people and 30 kilowatts. Really not a lot. And you just need to add 3 limestone, or in this case of the copper ore, this is 6 sand. It's really not a lot, but basically this will use a lot less iron and a lot less coal, which is great because obviously these are a bit more limited. So if you follow well the series, you may remember that it was actually in episode 10 where we started this whole thing. We went from having many production hubs across the map to having one big production hub with tons of belts, and of course we've improved it, we've added along the way, and now this is episode 20 where we're going to delete all of this and start it again. Okay, so first we're going to delete all of this to copy this inside, then I'll show you how to connect it, then we'll do a recap of the total production, the total pollution before and after for me to show you the impact, and lastly I'll go into detail and of course I'll show you how all of this is connected, or we have great ratios and things like this. Let's dive right in. It's good that we have a lot of unity because otherwise this may take a long time. Let's delete all of this, all of this. Need to make sure to be careful to not delete the new part that I was doing. And of course we need to make sure that we reconnect all of this, or in particular things like the maintenance quite quickly, otherwise we can be in trouble. Let's see, as you can see I used almost 100 of Unity already, but this way this will clean pretty quickly. Okay, and now let's copy this to put it in place. It's also good to use copy instead of cut, in case there is a problem, you still have this over there. I probably need this belt to go away, otherwise this is a bit in the way. So this is clean. We still have some reserves over here, some reserves over there, which we could actually redirect if we wanted towards the maintenance. But let's do that only as a last resort. Copy and paste. So I want to put it somewhere over here, actually over there. And I'm going to explain right now why over here. The key reason is, you can see the key reason is for the iron, it starts over here, right? This one is on the copper, so that's why my iron can come over here directly. Okay, so the first one to connect is the iron. We need a level 2 belt and connecting it at level 1. Perfect. And it's one tile, not perfect. We'll live with it. Then let's reconnect the copper. For now, I'm just going to use the belt we already have. This belt that starts already over here and goes over there. I'll just connect it over here. Then in the next episode, or maybe offline, I'm going to clean this whole part. But for now, let's do it like this. So this one is the one that goes at level 2. Level 2, so it is this one. Let's put it like this. And then it needs to go to level 1. Then the level 0 was our coal. Let's do the same. Let's leave it at level 1 until we're here. And then let's go to level 0. Pressing Q. Then this one is our slag that's coming out. It goes here and then it needs to go into that one over here. Let's do it like this. Go above and then go down. Perfect. So that's the slag. And level 2 over here was the sand. Okay, so the sand is coming all the way from here. And we need sand in a couple of places. All the way. All the way. And again, we can clean that later. So it comes over here, and here it needs to do two things. One is going to go all that side, and one needs to connect this one. This one connects here. It's also connected over here. Yep. Good. Okay, so we've done all of these. Then we have this one over here, which is the level 2 for all the iron, and it's limestone. Limestone is also coming from here. Actually, right now it's stopping over there. Again, let's do quick and dirty as a start, and then we can clean it later on. This one goes to this side. This side, level 0 is fine. And then connects. It connects to this one at level 2. Okay, so all of this is connected. Over there it's already connected. And then we still have two over here. What are those two? We're missing the limestone and the salt. Level 1. This is my limestone. Let's put it on the floor. And then the salt right now is coming over here. It goes over there. Again, this is super ugly because I need to clean this part anyway, so there's no point in making it pretty, but it should work. I think now we've connected everything except the outside. And actually the iron for now should just go over here. So the iron is this one and this one, which comes over here. So let's connect that easy like that. Perfect. And the second thing we need for our city to not die is maintenance depot, which means it's this iron over here. So our iron, if we look at it, it's being created. So it's that belt here that goes on the floor, goes over here. So if I'm not mistaken, it is this one. Perfect. So with this, that should be working. Let's see. This is the test by fire. Don't have enough unity right away, so let's also unpause the rest. Hopefully that will be constructed quite quickly by all, and I'm sure we're gonna find something where I made a mistake. Let's see. As you see, we already have the warning. We're at 50% on maintenance. It's not the end of the world. I'm sure we'll survive, but still, this is an important thing when you're revamping your production like that. Make sure that it's not gonna take 10 years to work again. Otherwise, you're in trouble. It seems to be working. It's not 100% yet, but as you can see, we're already, for example, making water out of the exhaust. So let's take a quick recap of what is happening. We'll start with our copper over here. So remember, the copper is crushed over here, then it comes into that belt, and over here, it comes into here. We have the coal, the crushed ore, and we have some sand. This is what's needed to make molten copper, slag, and exhaust. The slag is coming out on the side. Here, goes directly to level 3. Similarly here, goes up to level 3 and then all the way over here. So that's for the slag. Then the molten copper, that's easy, it goes straight. 2 on that side, 2 on this side, because this is 24 and we're making 48 for each. And then lastly, the exhaust. The exhaust is this pipe over here. It goes at level 1 all the way, as you can see. This one is a pipe level 3, and each of these is a pipe level 2. Why? Because this is 36, so 36 plus 36 is higher than 60. So we can't use the pipe level 1, but at the same time, we don't need a red pipe, pipe level 3 just for this part. Actually, I don't even need it over here. I only need it from there, to be precise. Then this just transforms the molten copper into impure copper. At level 1, we have the pipe. This is only 6, so that's 24. So really, this doesn't need to be level 2, and that's why, if you see here, this is a level 1 actually. This is the acid. It's going to come. I'm going to show you from where. And with this acid, we're making copper. And why acid? Because basically this is 24 to 24 versus this one is only 24 to 19.5. This is better to use acid. And then the copper will come out. The iron is deposited here, then crushed over here, sent into there, into level 1. And that's why you see here for all of these, we have 3 things: iron crushed ore, the limestone, and the coal. As always, the coal, same, coming from level 0, the limestone coming from here, and the iron crush, as we said, over here. Similarly, it will create molten iron instead of copper, the slag, and the exhaust. As always, the slag just comes on the side, goes to level 3, be sent away. The iron goes straight, the molten goes straight, and the exhaust goes over here. Then it goes into those ones, which are making molten iron. And for the iron, that's done, right? You don't have anything else after. So this is that big belt that will just go to the end over here. And as you can see, we're already making quite a bit. So I think our maintenance hopefully will restart very soon. Some of the molten iron that we're doing is actually not going into iron, it's going into steel. So this is the ones that are going over here. We have this one here and that one over here. They're making 48. This is taking 48 because this is a level 2. It's also taking oxygen, but only 18, right? So 18 plus 18, that's 36. So we only need one of these. 36, one of these. So that's great. Now that I think about it, there is just one thing I should do is, in case my steel is completely full, then this will stop, right? So the oxygen won't be used. And therefore this will start to accumulate oxygen, and then I won't be able to use my nitrogen to make my liquid nitrogen. So this is not too hard. We can solve that very easily. I'm going to do this like that, put some unity so you don't have to wait, and pause. We put a pipe balancer like this, then we can already put a pipe over here, a pipe over there, and just one small stack. Because remember, this is only 36, this can take 60, so that's not a problem. And basically we put this as a priority, which means that whenever we can, this will send all the oxygen over here, but when this is full, then the oxygen will go over here, and therefore this will never be full of oxygen. Okay, let's change that. So anyway, with that, we're able to make some molten steam and also some exhaust. As always, the exhaust is just going into that big pipe over here, and the molten is going just straight into this one over there. This is taking 48 to make 24. So that's why we're taking 24, and that's why that's a 1-to-1. We're also taking a bit of water, and this is what you can see coming from here. We'll talk about the water later, but remember that basically we're bringing water to it from here. The steel is easily coming out just this way, but also, as you can see, there is another piece of steel that's going directly into this chemical plant here, 6 of it to make some liquid nitrogen. We also need some nitrogen, that's why it's over here. And here, once again, I didn't make the mistake this time. I did put the pipe balancer and this, because in this case, we will actually have to go into the air lots, because this is only using 18 and this is 36. You could say, why didn't I make 2 of these then to take advantage of this 36? Well, for 2 reasons. The first one is that this nitrogen exhaust actually doesn't pollute. This is fine. You can send as much as you want to the atmosphere. It doesn't matter. And the second reason is that actually 12 nitrogen is what I need. I don't need more than that. As you can see, the nitrogen is only used for the lab equipment, so really not needed here. And then for the last 3 over here, we're making molten glass using glass mix and coal. So of course, as always, the coal just come at the bottom, level 0. This is the same belt all the way. And then the second is the glass mix, which is actually coming from over here. We're making it over here, so it goes across and is fed into the system. And this is basically the only place where the ratio is not perfect. Because here we're making 48 and we have 3 of these, right? This is only using 24. So basically I could have 6 of these instead of 3. The reason I made it this way is, as you can see, I mean, we're over here in the research lab, right? Soon we'll get to this one here, the glass making level 2, where we'll get the glass maker level 2 that uses 48. So that way I'll just have to upgrade those 3 soon. And in the meantime, this can be full, this is fine, you know, it's not the end of the world if those things are full. The molten glass comes here, creates some glass. This is what's coming out level 0, as you can see over here. And then the second is creating slag. This is what you can see over here. It's going here at level 1, here at level 1, and goes back into our pipe over here to go with the rest all the way that side. Now we just talked about the glass mix, so let's look at it. It is made over here. It is taking some sand, some limestone, some salt, and some acid. 4 different things, that's quite a lot. You could do it without acid, but then you're making less glass mix, so I don't like that. I prefer to be efficient, not lose resources. So as you can see, you know, we have the sand, we have the limestone, we have the salt, and then the acid is coming over here. Because remember, we were sending this acid that side, so it's the same belt that's just coming over here. And once again, this is only 12 plus 12, 36 plus 24, so that's 60. So that's perfect for this pipe. And we talked about acid twice, so where is that acid coming from? Well, the acid is actually coming from here. We have 3 of those mixers which are taking some sulfur, only 6, a bit of water to make a lot of acid, right? This is only 6 and 12 to make 24. So with those 3, if they go at full speed, we should be able to make enough of the acid that we need inside this, right? So that becomes self-sufficient. But to do that, we need water and sulfur. Remember, we also needed water over here. So this was this pipe here. This is the same pipe that's going into over here, right? This pipe there, this pipe over here, and this pipe is coming from over there. We're going to talk about it just now. Similarly, the sulfur, this is this one over here, coming from over here. So both the water and the sulfur seem to be coming from over here. What is that? These are my exhaust scrubber. Remember, we're sending all of the exhaust this way, right, through this pipe. So we need to do something about it. And this is the pipe that's coming over here and then going down into those scrubbers, right? You can see this one going down, and also going down over here. Each of these is taking 180, a bit of water again. So that's why the water is once again coming this side. And with that, we're making many things. We're making some steam low, we're making some sulfur and some carbon dioxide. Remember, we needed 6 sulfur for each of those 3, right? And we're making 6 for each of those 3 too. So if those ones are working fully, those ones were also working fully. So actually, I just realized I made a mistake, is I need a third one, because this is 24 and this takes 24. So anyway, we're not wasting this steam, we're just putting it into those coolant tower to bring back some water into the system. This way we need less water, basically it's sort of half of the water that you need is brought back. The other thing is the CO2. As I said before, the CO2 we could send into the ocean and that way we would not have any pollution at all, but frankly I felt this was a bit far. Like my closest ocean is over there, so I said no, let's not do it for now, let's just send it into the atmosphere. So this is what we're doing here. As you can see, I mean, those two here, 72 plus 72, that's quite a lot. That's why I put a large smokestack. And then here, this is only 72. So you can't put just one of these because this is 60, but you can put 2. As you can see, I did this very compact thing where I just have a connector here and I have those 2. I have a whole videos on balancers, connectors, and things like this, so don't hesitate to check in the video description below. But if you don't know, what you can do is you do this. You create a connector. Then you're going to connect one of your smokestack, for example, this one. Then you can delete the other piece. Then you put another smokestack. Then you can again delete this, and then you just copy this wherever you want it. If you want it there, in this case, I obviously wanted it there. Okay, so it is, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we're back to almost 100% of maintenance. I think we can also stop the boost now because we're still making enough. So of course, this is not like an autonomous thing, right? We do need to bring a bit of water. we need to bring a lot of iron, a lot of copper, a lot of other things. But what I really like is that everything that's produced inside, we're really using it, like the sulfur, etc. We're using it with perfect ratios. Of course, again, if something is full, then this may not work perfectly. That's why you do want to have, you know, things like this smokestack for the oxygen, that when this is full, something is done and it doesn't block the whole thing. Or for example, we may want, you know, to have another way to bring acid into it to make sure that it doesn't stop, but with a priority on the balancer as always. For example, if you remember, we are making tons of acid over here thanks to the sulfur we're making there. So this is another way. Okay, so what do you think about this layout? Don't hesitate to share in the comments below. But now, one important thing I wanted to show you is the before and after in terms of production, in terms of emissions. Is this actually better? I mean, we know it's better in terms of it's taking less space, right? Like we've liberated a lot of space over here, we liberated a lot of space over here. But is this better also in terms of production? So as always, I made a quick Excel to show you that. This is the before. We were producing 96 copper and we were using 96 copper ore to make that, right? Now we're still producing 96 copper, but we only need 72 copper ore to make that. So it's the same end production, but we're using less resources. Then in the iron, we used to produce 192 and using 192 of iron ore. Now, while we're using less iron ore, we're using 180, we're actually producing more, we're producing 240. So this is great for the iron, which means we can increase our construction part production, for example, or also our maintenance. For the steel, we were producing 48, but we needed 96 iron ore to make that happen. Now we are still producing 48, but we only need 72 iron ore, so a lot less. So for the glass, as I said, I'm producing a lot more molten glass than glass, but soon I'll be able to upgrade those glass factories to level 2, and then it will basically be this molten glass production will be equal to my glass production. And this is a big change. We used to only have 48, now it's 144. This one is a big one. And all of this, the cool thing is that this is producing exactly the same amount of exhaust. Because we have less blast furnaces, but each of the blast furnaces level 2 obviously produce a bit more exhaust per resource. But the key thing is, of course, the pollution. This exhaust used to be just sent directly into the atmosphere, creating 216 pollution. Now we're transforming this exhaust into CO2. We're actually transforming into a bit more than 170 of CO2. And that process of both creating the CO2 plus sending the CO2 into the atmosphere is only creating 100 of pollution. So air pollution has been halved with this process, while we've increased our production and we've decreased the resources we needed. So this is definitely a great thing to do. You know, if you're wondering, is this really worth it? Should I do it? But in the long term, that's definitely a big change. And remember that on top of that, if you can use the gas injection pump to send your carbon dioxide into the sea, then you'll have even less pollution. I also have some very cool plans for the near future. We need to clean this part. Remember that we have this new rotary clean here. We also have a new concrete mixer level 2, so we can definitely clean this part over here. And then we can clean this whole piece, right? This is taking a lot of space that's not needed. We can clean all of this, have some good storage like we used to have over here. And then there's two other big things. One is here in terms of the coal. We are almost finished with clearing the coal at minus level 3. So we're gonna need to start digging even further into the ground. So that's gonna be cool. And then the other thing is I actually want to now move to the next stage of the fuel. If you remember, we only using right now distillation stage 1 and stage 2. We're not using yet the stage 3. And because of that, we're also not doing anything with naphtha. Please don't hesitate to smash the like button if you like this episode. It really does help a lot. And I hope to see you next time.